Hi, this is Mike, WB4HUC, and this is going to be hopefully a shortish video between 5 and 10 minutes about two different topics. One is about adjusting the refresh rate of the panadapter display, and then the other is a minor software update. So let's cover the refresh rate first. So there are no buttons or menu settings that I know of to change the speed at which the panadapter refreshes. So what they did, maybe in a firmware update, maybe it was always there, I don't know. But what they did was they have macro commands to let you do that. And so you can program in these macro commands several different ways. So if we go here, you could program them to operate when you push one of these software buttons, or you can assign the commands to one of the four program function buttons on the front panel of the radio, or you can program the commands into the function buttons on the K-Pod, and that's what I did. So if we look at macros, so here are the four program function buttons on the front of the radio. I didn't touch those. These are the function buttons in the LCD screen where I just showed them to you a moment ago. And then here's the K-Pod buttons. So as usual, you have a description for the button, and then you have the command. So the commands are pretty simple. You have four refresh rates that you can choose, and you can choose 15 frames per second, 30 frames per second, 40 frames per second, or 60 frames per second. The default is 15, so it's pretty slow. So on my K-Pod, function key 1 is the 30 frames per second, and then if you push the function key and hold it, it'll issue the 40 frames per second command. The function key 2 on the K-Pod will set the display for 60 frames per second, and then if you push and hold function key 2 on the K-Pod, you go back to 15 frames per second. So that's it. You just program these macros, and that's really all you do. So if we get out of this, excuse me, I'm always doing this. I gotta find the other mouse. And the only thing you're going to see, you're not going to see a message that told you it executed the command, the macro command or whatever, but you will see the refresh rate change. So I'm going to push and not hold it, but just push function key 1 on the K-Pod, and you can see it speeded up. If I push and hold, so that should be 30 frames per second. If I push and hold, that's a little bit faster. That's 40 frames per second. If I push function key 2, F2 on the K-Pod, and not push it and hold it, but just push it, then that's 60 frames per second. And then if I push and hold function key 2, we're back to 15 frames per second, which compared to the other speeds, now I've had this radio for 2 years, and I only recently programmed these macros into the K-Pod. So now that I've done that, 15 frames per second was fine until I saw the faster frame rates. So again, there's 30, and that's probably plenty fast for me. And then, I'm sorry, that was 60. I had my finger on the wrong button. So what we just saw was 60 frames per second. There's 30. And then there's 40, and that's probably plenty fast for me. So I'm going to leave it at 40 frames per second. So there you go. That's how to program faster refresh rate into the radio so that you can get a little faster updating of the pan adapter. So the second topic is software updates. Now, this has been covered before, probably by other people, but this is a situation that I've just run into. So a few weeks ago, I installed the second receiver into my K4. Elecraft has a video about how to do that. I followed that video. It didn't go quite as smoothly for me as it went in the video. It took me longer, but I got it done. And one thing I didn't do was check to see if there were any software updates to be done after you install the second receiver. And on a whim, earlier this morning, I did do a check for software updates, and sure enough, there is one. So if we go down here and we click on function, and then we do software list. So there were two boards, circuit boards plugged into the K4 associated with adding the second receiver. One of them is called the KDDC board. And on the circuit board, there's room for 3 of these boards. One was already populated, probably for the first receiver. The second one is the one I added that came with the second receiver upgrade. And if you noticed here, apparently this is the software update number. So DDC1 is at 00.65 and DDC2 is at 00.63. And I'm not sure what these numbers are. I don't know. So remember this number, DDC2 is 0.63. And we can get out of this and go back to function and go back and check for updates. So if we press and hold, check for updates for latest software. I'm on production release R37. You know, you might be on the previous production release, you might be on a beta release. So it's best to check based on what software version you're running. Go down here and click check for updates. And then it will tell you DDC2 revision 0063 installed, and we saw that from the software list. Revision 0065 available. So I'm going to install 0065, and on the K4 software updates are easy. So I'm going to say install, and then we'll just watch what happens. So he's telling us here he's going to install 00.65 on top of 00.63, I'm assuming, and replace it. And then here's our progress. So now we're told that the install was successful. Install complete. Verifying. Software is up to date. Expect K4 restart after exit. Okay, so this is where I run into a little bit of a glitch most of the time. The screen capture software that I'm using generally stops when I restart the K4. Maybe that's because it loses the signal from the HDMI output on the back of the radio. I don't know. I come from IBM mainframes, and we don't have this kind of stuff on the IBM mainframe. So anyway, I'm going to pause the recording, and then I'm going to restart the radio, and how I restart the radio, I'm just going to exit, and the radio will automatically restart. So if I leave the video capture running, it usually glitches and quits, and I lose the whole recording. So I'm going to stop this recording and then pick it up after the update, and then try to merge the two video recordings together, the one before and during the update and the one after the update. So hopefully, if this goes the way I want it to go, I'll be right back. Okay, it looks like it worked, and this time the video capture software didn't quit. So maybe it was because I wasn't recording. I stopped recording, but I left the video capture software running. So I don't know. I got to look at that a little bit and try to see if I can figure out why that happens. Anyway, we are rebooted, restarted, I guess. So let's go look at the software list again. And now DDC1 and DDC2 are both at the same software level. So I guess the kind of lesson that's in here is anytime you update hardware in your radio, go back and make sure you don't also need to update any software. So this appeared to be a minor update from 0.63 to 0.65. I don't know what's in the update. There might be a list somewhere of what's in the update, but it's done. So, because usually what happens is when you call a vendor for service, well, what version of the software are you on? And if you're not on the current one, they tell you, well, go back and install the current version and then call us back. So, you know, even though your problem may or may not have anything to do with the version of software you're running. But there you go. We've successfully updated that one piece of the software for the second DDC board that came with the second receiver upgrade. And it seems to all be working. I mean, I need to go back through and fire up the second receiver and do some testing, but when I installed it a couple of weeks ago, I tested it out pretty thoroughly and it was working fine. So I think we're done. Anyway, there you go. Just a short little video of those two topics. As always, thank you for watching.